So in this video, I wanted to show you how I decide whether I'm going to strip wire down or not. Here's the latest run that I had to my scrap yard, which I did yesterday. I took a bunch of wire in. All right, so I had Christmas lights. I had 15 pounds at 25 cents for $3.75. I had machine wire, 15 pounds of that for $2.10 a pound. That gave me $31.50. And I had some computer wire they call low recovery, 14 pounds of that for 65 cents. And then I had my light number 2, that's extension cord, and that's $1.10 a pound. So I had 2 things of that there. So I got $180, $181, something like that and some stainless steel, which was 35 cents. That went up to, from 30 cents, it went to 35. So a total of $257. But I wanted to show you something about this machine wire. What this was I had a big roll of 14 gauge wire, and it weighed 15 pounds, and they paid me $2.10 a pound, and I didn't have to do a darn thing to it. So at what point do you throw it in the machine wire box or strip it down? That's the question. So I broke this down here, and we're going to do an apples to apple comparison here. So this top row here, this is your THWN, which is a 12 gauge 19 strand wire, and then the same exact thing, only it's 14 gauge. So we're gonna break this down and do an apples to apples comparison, and then you can make your own decision. I didn't include 10 gauge wire in here because I'm stripping that down every time. But when you get down to your 12 and your 14, and then obviously your 16, 18 gauge, probably not really worth it. But let's see if 12 gauge and 14 gauge is worth it. Okay, so I got this scale zeroed out, and I have a pile of 14 gauge wire. We have 1 pound. Set that aside. And we have a pile of 12 gauge wire. And we have 1 pound of that. So we know that that pile will pay $2.10, and that pile will pay $2.10 if we just took it up as is. So let's strip it down and see if we gain any profit. All right, so we're set up to strip our 12 gauge wire. Let's go ahead and do that. So here's our 12 gauge Bear Bright. Now let's do our 14 gauge. All right, so here's 1 pound of 14 gauge, 1 pound of 12 gauge. Let's weigh it up now that it's stripped, now that we're down to Bear Bright. So it was paying $2.10 and $3.70 a pound for Bear Bright. So let's weigh it up and see what we come up with. All right, let's go ahead and weigh up our Bear Bright now. We'll zero this out. 0.85. Let's weigh up our 14 gauge, see what we got here. And we come up with 0.7. All right, let's do the math, see if it's worth it. Okay, so here's what I come up with. So we started off with 1 pound of 12 gauge wire that paid $2.10 as is. We stripped it down and come up with 0.85 and turned that 210 into 315. And the 14 gauge wire, same 1 pound, $2.10 as is, turned it into 0.7 pounds at $3.70 a pound, and it only comes up to $2.59. So I definitely think doing 12 gauge wire is worth stripping. And in my opinion, I'm thinking the 14 gauge wire might just be going to the scrapyard as is. That's a decision you got to make for yourself there. I just wanted to do a little comparison just to show you. Okay, well, I guess I'm going to throw this into my Bear Bright pile and get it to the scrapyard so I can get paid. Thanks for watching.